The old green grasshopper reached out and touched him carefully on the stomach. "But how could it possibly have dried so quickly?" he asked. "It's rainbow paint," James answered. "Rainbow paint dries very quick and very hard." "Oh, I detest paint," Miss Spider announced. "It frightens me. Oh, it reminds me of Aunt Spiker. The late Aunt Spiker, I mean, because the last time she painted her kitchen ceiling, my poor darling grandmother stepped into it by mistake when it was still wet, and there she stuck. And all through the night we could hear her calling to us, saying, 'Help, help, help!' Oh, and it was heartbreaking to listen to her. But what could we do? Not a thing until the next day when the paint had dried. And then, of course, we all rushed over to her and calmed her down and gave her some food. Oh, believe it or not, she lived for 6 months like that, upside down on the ceiling with her legs stuck permanently in the paint. She really did. We fed her every day. We brought her fresh flies straight from the web. But then, on the 26th of April last, Aunt Sponge, the late Aunt Sponge, happened to glance up at the ceiling and she spotted her. 'A spider!' she cried, 'a disgusting spider! Quick, fetch me the mop with a long handle!' And then, oh, it was so awful I can't bear to think of it." Miss Spider wiped away a tear and looked sadly at the centipede. "You poor thing," she murmured. "I do feel sorry for you." "Oh, it'll never come off," the earthworm said brightly. "Our centipede will never move again. He'll turn into a statue, and we shall be able to put him in the middle of the lawn with a bird bath on the top of his head." "We could try peeling him like a banana," the old green grasshopper suggested. "Or rubbing him with sandpaper," the ladybird said. "Now, if he stuck out his tongue," the earthworm said, smiling a little for perhaps the first time in his life, "if he stuck it out really far, then we could all catch hold of it and start pulling, and if we pulled hard enough, we could turn him inside out, and he'd have a new skin." There was a pause while the others considered this interesting proposal. "I think," James said slowly, "I think that the best thing to do—" Then he stopped. "What was that?" he asked quickly. "I heard a voice. I heard someone shouting." They all raised their heads, listening. "Shh! There it is again." But the voice was too far away for them to hear what it was saying. "It's a cloud man!" Miss Spider cried. "I just know it's a cloud man! They're after us again!" "It came from above," the earthworm said, and automatically everybody looked upward, everybody except the centipede, who couldn't move. "Ouch!" they said. "Help! Mercy! We're going to catch it this time!" For what they now saw, swirling and twisting directly over their heads, was an immense black cloud, a terrible, dangerous, thundery-looking thing that began to rumble and roar even as they were staring at it. And then from high up on the top of the cloud, the faraway voice came down to them once again, this time very loud and clear. "On with the faucets!" it shouted. "On with the faucets! On with the faucets!" 3 seconds later, the hole underneath of the cloud seemed to split and burst open like a paper bag, and then out came the water. They saw it coming. It was quite easy to see because it wasn't just raindrops. It wasn't raindrops at all. It was a great solid mass of water that might have been a lake or a whole ocean dropping out of the sky on top of them, and down it came, down and down and down, crashing first onto the seagulls and then onto the peach itself, while the poor travellers shrieked with fear and groped around frantically for something to catch hold of, the peach stem, the silk strings, anything they could find, and all the time the water came pouring and roaring down upon them, bouncing and smashing and sloshing and slashing and swashing and swirling and surging and whirling and gurgling and gushing and rushing, and it was like being pinned down underneath the biggest waterfall in the world and not being able to get out. They couldn't speak. They couldn't see. They couldn't breathe. And James Henry Trotter, holding on madly to one of the silk strings above the peach stem, told himself that this must surely be the end of everything at last. But then, just as suddenly as it had started, the deluge stopped. They were out of it, and it was all over. The wonderful seagulls had flown right through it and had come out safely on the other side. Once again, the giant peach was sailing peacefully through the mysterious moonlit sky. "I am drowned," gasped the old green grasshopper, spitting out water by the pint.
Oh, it's gone right through me skin, the earthworm groaned. I always thought my skin was waterproof, but it isn't, and now I'm full of rain.
Look at me! Look at me! Shouted the centipede excitedly. It's washed me clean! The paint's all gone! I can move again!
Well, that's the worst news I've had in a long time, the earthworm said.